to eat healthy, but your kitchen seems like a source of constant stress. I have something very uncomfortable to talk to you about today. I see you trying. You're buying the fresh produce, you're pinning the recipes, and you're following all the healthy lifestyle gurus. And yet, at 6 p.m., the food is wilting in your fridge. The kids are hungry, and you're reaching for the takeout menu again. I've been there. As a busy mom of two, currently pregnant with my third, I'm going to be straight with you. For a long time, I sucked at this. I was the one chasing for the perfect aesthetic meal prep, trying every trick I saw on my feed, only to end up exhausted with a trash can of wasted groceries. But then something clicked. I stopped trying to game the perfect kitchen, and I started working with the reality of my schedule. That's when freezing my from-scratch meals became an absolutely invaluable part of my life. It didn't just save me money, it did save me a ton of energy and a ton of time. Today, I'm showing you exactly how I use these silicone cubes to thrive, to avoid waste, and to feed my family real sugar-free food even when I'm at my busiest. Let's get into it. Now, you don't need expensive molds. You can find cheaper versions on Amazon. All of them do the exact same thing. Or feel free to use ice cube silicone molds. They are slightly smaller, but just feel free to use more cubes when you want to assemble into a meal. Here is the breakdown of how this challenge is going to work. I'm making 9 essential Mediterrasian prep items that I'm gonna be freezing into the blocks. My goal is to create a perfectly balanced from scratch plate every time without the stress of cooking from zero. To keep things balanced and nutritious, I've prepped 3 high protein, 3 starches, 2 veggies, and 1 comforting soup that you must try. And to really test if this is the most efficient way to eat healthy as a busy mom, every day for lunch this week, I'm going to be making a meal using only my frozen cooked food. Because I want to help you get started on eating healthy journey, I'll be sharing all my recipes into the description, into a docs. You can also find my digital cookbook linked down below. All of these are completely free, so just grab them. Alright, now let's get into the first. Now, normally most people just use the breast for breaded chicken, but today we're using a whole bird. I'm starting by breaking this down, cutting the back legs, separating the breast, and getting those wings. Since this is a smaller farm-fresh chicken compared to the massive ones you see in the stores, I'm slicing the breast into these beautiful 1-inch thick pieces. For the coating, I'm keeping it simple, 1 well-beaten egg and a separate plate with plenty of breadcrumbs, salt and black pepper. We're going straight from the egg to the crumbs. I skipped the flour layer today to keep it quick. Into the stainless steel pan with some olive oil, they go. This will fry for about 15 to 20 minutes. Since we're using bone-in pieces alongside to the breast, make sure to check right next to the bone to ensure they're fully cooked. Today, toward the end, I'm dropping in a bit of butter for that extra flavor boost. Once they're golden and crispy, they go into the glass container and we move to our second protein, which truly could not be easier. Next, I have a generous piece of beef that I've cut into cubes. My goal here is to make it ready under 15 minutes. I'm frying this in olive oil and seasoning simply with salt. A pro tip, when you notice the oil is gone, add a splash of water to the pan. It keeps the beef tender and prevents burning while it finishes. I'm freezing this in my silicone cubes with a layer of broccoli on top. This makes it so easy to grab and go for a balanced meal with rice later. It freezes perfectly and honestly the taste doesn't change a bit. Moving on to our fajitas. Now for an authentic look, you'd use bell peppers, but I'm using these crunchy red peppers I had on hand. I'm slicing them thin along with half a red onion right into the same pan I used for the chicken to soak up all that flavor. We've put small pieces of chicken in here so this cooks fast, about 10 to 15 minutes until the veggies are soft and the chicken is juicy. I season with salt, pepper and paprika, keeping it simple and quick. A squeeze of fresh lemon and a generous handful of cilantro at the end makes it pop. I actually had some fresh pitas and Greek yogurt nearby and I just couldn't help myself. I had to make a wrap right then and there. It was a total success. The rest, however, made it into the freezer cubes to stick with the theme. Of course, it's not a freezer series without cilantro rice. This is a staple because it matches everything. If you have a rice cooker, use it. If not, the pan method is easy. Wash your rice 4 or 5 times. Cover it in an inch of water, add salt and bring to a boil. Once that heat is lowered and the water is gone, fluff it up in a bowl with lots of fresh cilantro and lime juice, or a very ripe lemon if that's what you've got. These cubes are beautiful and ready to save your life after a busy day. When it comes to starches, I feel like lentils are so underrated. This recipe is inspired by a dal recipe. I'm washing a cup of red lentils and bringing them to a boil with salt. While that's working, I'm finely chopping half an onion and 2-3 cloves of garlic. I prefer chopping over mincing here to keep that texture. Saute those in olive oil until they're beautiful, then add in 3 roughly chopped ripe tomatoes. Cover for 5 minutes, then mash them down with your spatula into a gorgeous homemade sauce. Since I'm pregnant, I'm adding some leftover cooked spinach into this soup for that extra folic acid baby needs. Top it with fresh cilantro and black pepper and you have a delicious, cheap and nutrients-dense meal that freezes beautifully. Now for my homemade hummus. We make this every couple of days and no exaggeration. Canned chickpeas mashed well, salt, minced garlic, lemon juice and plenty of tahini. Standard recipes call for 1/4 cup, but in this house we go for a full half cup. The funny thing is that by the time I went to freeze this, my family had eaten almost all of it. It does freeze well, I just barely had enough left to show you because we enjoyed so much. A healthy addition to any dish is a hit of greens. For the spinach, I'm doing a quick 30-second blanch in boiling water, then straight into an ice bath to keep that color. For the broccoli, I'm using the floret and the steams, which are so delicious, and boiling them for 4 to 5 minutes. I'm layering this in the mold, spinach on the bottom, broccoli on top, so I can decide exactly how much of each I want for my portions later. Finally, this is a perfect Lent recipe using basic ingredients: red onion, carrots and potatoes. Since we're doing a no oil day, I'm sauteing this in a bit of water before adding the green lentils. Season with salt, cover with water or veggie broth and let it simmer for 20 minutes. At the end, I'm adding chopped Swiss chard for the last 5 minutes, then finishing with, you guessed it, lots of cilantro and lemon. This is exactly what you want in the freezer for those days you just aren't in the mood of cooking.